Item 7.1, the we will recess and conduct a regular board meeting at California Military Institute Charter School. At 8. Yep. All right. Item 8.1. Okay, item 8.1, revision, adoption, yeah, that's what I was like. So I guess we'll just reconvene at 6:04 for the regular board meeting of Paris Union High School District for October 16, 2019, 6:04. All right, so now we're at 8.1, right? Okay, now item 8.1, revision, adoption, ordering of agenda of October 16, 2019. Is there a motion? I'm sorry, what was the first one? Mr. Nelson? And then Dr. Rao. Any discussion? Please
No,
vote.
sir.
Item 8.1 is a 5-0 vote. Item 9.1, report out of closed session.
No report out of closed session this evening.
Thank you. Item 9.2, district update by the superintendent.
Yes, start out with, I would like to brag about the 2 PD days that we had last week, Thursday and Friday over at Heritage High School. Mr. Tippy did a great job of organizing it all, he built a master schedule for teachers and classified members and administrators. And it was just such an awesome event. We had people from our own district presenting. We had outside vendors here presenting, and the feedback I'm getting from staff is they really enjoyed what was going on and they felt like they learned. And really, Ms. Behrens talked about equity and equality, and that was kind of the theme of my message to the staff that day, because that's, we have to take care of each kid. We have to give each kid what they need to be successful, and I thought those 2 days were great, and Mr. Newman's whole department did a wonderful job putting that together over there. Today we had a kickoff to college events at all of our schools. Every grade level, every school had a different event that they were doing during the time. I got to visit Heritage and Paris High this morning, and really neat to go through again, and kids filling out college applications. Other kids are talking about careers that they're interested in. Just very well organized. Ms. Zerold and Mr. Newman's department did a great job putting that together also. This Friday is the annual Menifee Bowl with Heritage and Paloma playing over at Paloma Valley this year, and look forward to being there and seeing how the game's going to turn out. It's always a very high-spirited game, so it'll be a fun time. So if you're not, I know you have a game, Dr. Rao, somewhere, but if you'd like to go to the game, let me know, and I'll make sure we get you on the list to get into the game. In the October 4th, the entire cabinet went, and Dr. Freeman went also to the mayor's ball over at, where was it at? Menifee Lakes Country Club. I go to so many, Menifee Lakes Country Club, and it was a great event. Mayor Zimmerman did a good job there, and we appreciated that. September 28th, we had Ed Camp Paris at Paris High School. We had about 100 people there, Joe? About 100 people there, and it was free to come to, and just kind of leading your own learning there. And it's really a fun event. I like to go every year and participate. I pick up a few little tidbits every time I go. Also on September 28th, the Boys and Girls Club of Menifee had their annual gala. It's a fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Club. And what's really cool is they become Boys and Girls Club of Inland Valley rather than just Menifee, because they opened up the Boys Club here in Paris now. It just opened within the last week down on D and about 10th, I think, right on the bottom floor, one of the apartment building down there. So that's really cool to see. And last week was the Southern California Fair. Both Heritage and Paris FFA were there in full force. Had some kids win some high-level medals and things like that, ribbons. So it was a great event. I think that's all I have for this evening. Any questions? No?
No question.
Thank you.
Item 9.3, student representatives to the Board of Trustees. Mr. Nelson?
All right, I get to start things off from Heritage High School. Student representatives Perla Ceja and Cesar Ramos.
Good evening, President Garcia, members of the board, Mr. Bennett, and members of the cabinet. My name is Cesar Ramos.
And I'm Perla Ceja. We are excited to share a few highlights of what has been happening at Heritage since last meeting.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about that. Sorry about that. Sorry for the interruption. Okay. So the National Honor Society had their induction September 25th. 31 new members, of all which have showcased character, scholarship, leadership, and service, were inducted into the organization. All members will continue to meet monthly to further develop these skills as well as spend time bettering their communities.
The HHS Interact Club hosted the first blood drive of the school year. 103 people donated blood that day. The next blood drive is scheduled for December 4th.
Madame Zani and the French Club attended a field trip recently to the French Film Festival in Los Angeles, and then Giusette's French Bistro. Most kids agreed to try French escargot too. It was quite an experience. I
On Friday, October 4th, the City of Menifee and the Chamber of Commerce had an event to celebrate Manufacturing Day 2019. Several of our HHS PATs, along with our HHS video production team, attended the Menifee Manufacturing Day. Students were able to see some applied science at the Forterra Concrete Pipe Company.
We had our homecoming rally game. We had an amazing homecoming week. Friday's pep rally and game were a lot of fun. At the rally, we had performances by BSU step team, cheer team, dance team, and the Polynesian Culture and Dance Club. At the football halftime show, we had our annual club parade presenting the 2019 Royal Family and performances by the dance team and cheer teams. The varsity football team beat Elsinore High School 39-12.
On October 5th, we had our homecoming dance. We sold a record number of tickets and had almost 1,100 students. The theme was Homecoming Far From Home, which was an around the world theme. Students were able to enjoy a picture selfie station with printed pictures, tacos, a variety of desserts, and of course dancing. We want to give a huge shout out to our parent volunteers we had at the dance who helped host our own dessert bar. The help and dedication to our school is greatly appreciated.
Here are the few events coming up. We have the Freshman Festival, FFA Plant and Pumpkin Sale, Red Ribbon Week activities, Thanksgiving food drive, drama fall play, robotics competition, and talent show.
Our student of the month is AC Rondon. AC is a highly motivated student on our campus. He is on the varsity football team and an officer in Make-A-Wish Club, NHS, and Interact. He is also a part of our Avid and Lean Crew programs. AC is just an all-around great individual who works hard daily and is a great example to his fellow patriots. Maria Estrada is our classified staff of the month. Maria is one of our awesome para-educators. She is a great support to all the students and staff and always has a smile on her face. She works hard on building connections with all our students on campus. We appreciate everything Maria does for our HHS family. Alex Fonseca is the teacher of the month. She is part of our English department, teaching English, ELD, and plus leadership. She is always positive and willing to go the extra mile for her students. She works with the Plus program, and she continues to make a positive impact on our campus. We are so thankful to have her. That concludes our presentation.
Thank you so much for the continuous support of what we do at Heritage.
From Paloma Valley High School, student representatives Josiah Civile and Sarah Tomlin.
Hello, PUHSD Board of Trustee members, President Garcia, Cabinet members, and Superintendent Mr. Bennett. My name is Josiah Civile, and with me is Sierra Tomlin, and here's our October updates.
On October 4th, our 12th grade advanced engineering students spent the day hearing from panel manufacturing experts of the Menifee Chamber on Manufacturing Day.
Our Paloma Biomed Innovation students did an amazing job as they presented their human physiology posters in the Media Center for the students of Paloma Valley to walk around and look at. Great job to Ms. Hagerdon for putting this special event together, and thank you to Ms. Martin for preparing this Media Center.
During the month of October, our students got a taste of their potential future as we welcomed local colleges such as Azusa Pacific University, Cal Baptist University, and Westmont University, as well as military representatives, to talk to the students and allow them to ask any questions that they have pertaining to their future. This is such a great opportunity for our students to endure.
This is the second year that Paloma has hosted the Castle Leadership Day. All our leadership classes on campus, including Heritage High School leadership students, shared lots of laughs on this day and created many memories. We love to see the growth in each and every student as they brought out the real meaning of being a leader.
These academic reward cards were handed out by our new PVHS Renaissance class to congratulate the 1,100 Wildcats who had a 3.5 GPA or higher at the first grading period. These cards include various prizes ranging from a lunch detention excuse, front of the line pass, and a snack at the PVHS Athletic Snack Bar. At the 12th week grade period, these will again be handed out. Plus, there will be a new one for students whose GPA increased by 0.5 or higher from the first 6 weeks.
All PVHS students participated in the annual Kickoff to College event. Student activities for the day ranged from taking the PSAT, applying for college, and creating their 4-year plans. Also, all students participated in the mini college fair during one of their sessions. For the seniors, their day ended with them taking the annual senior class picture.
Here are some of our upcoming events. We have our Menifee Bowl this Friday. Paloma will also be wearing pink shirts to support breast cancer at the game. 4 of our 7 athletic teams will be making playoffs. However, our other 3 teams are on the hunt for playoff spots. On Tuesday, over 50 students came to the inaugural meeting for High School Esports League. And now we would like to hand out shirts to the cabinet members. We would also like to invite you to our football game this Friday, and you can wear your shirts.
Thank you for your time.
Both of them? I'm going to wear both shirts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now let's welcome the student reps from Perris High School, Valeria Castillo and Herendida Corona.
Good evening, President Garcia and board members, Superintendent Bennett, and Cabinet. Can't really see you guys today. I'm not wearing my glasses. So, sorry if it looks like I'm struggling. I am Erendita Corona with my partner and fellow junior Valeria Castillo. Together, we are your Paris High School board representatives.
So, at the homecoming game, we lost. But to make up for it, we proudly crowned our King Isaac and Queen Ruby at the tailgate parade. And I personally think it was an amazing parade during the halftime because there was 4 trucks which carried the freshman prince and princess, the sophomores, the juniors, and then the king and queen, which were seniors. I think that was really cool. And then we had our homecoming dance on Saturday, and it was really good as well. And we had a dancing robot, which I don't think any other school has had that. And at the dance, we also had gambling, but for fun. Okay. Back to school night, we well attended, kicked off with the jamboree, and then they performed, JRTC performed, dance, cheer, and then the Paris dancers.
Ed Camp was held on campus last month. ASB was on campus working on a campus beautification project when asked to participate in a break session called Things That Suck. Well, I personally did not get to participate. I heard it was interesting because when you ask teenagers what sucks, be prepared to hear the honest truth. The last topic was homework. The room was split across 2 lines, students versus adults. I'll let you guys guess who thought homework sucked. My classmates also said thanks for the Jersey Mike's lunch because that did not suck. And to Mr. Bennett for his generosity, to Brenna, our ASB president, and raffle MC at the end of the day.
Paris joined forces with Clearwater Elementary. Cheer, band, and ASB walked to school with hundreds of Clearwater students. Also in attendance were the Riverside Sheriff's Department, the California Fire Department, and the mascots Pete, Penelope the Panthers, Larry the Lunch Lion, and Danny the Dolphin. And I was Penelope Panther. It was tiring, and I was sweaty after. But my favorite part was hugging all the little elementary kids.
Today was kickoff to college. Counseling did an awesome job in coordinating the entire school in college and career-related activities. As for me, I took the PSAT, and I'm very tired. Our teacher of the month is Mr. Ernest. I personally don't know him, but I've heard a lot of great things. And our student of the month is Scarlett Cavita. She's great. I was talking to her today right before I came, and she was tired because she went to practice, but she still had a smile on her face. For our SoCal Fair, so many students placed. Here is a sample of our first place winners. Landscape design results. First place in international design, drought tolerant design, and patio design. For goats, Lisbeth Paredes, first place, novice showmanship. Lambs, Mariana Mandujano, first place, advanced showmanship and grand champion market lab. For our pigs, Daniel Rodriguez, grand champion feeder hot master showmanship. Hog master.
Sports, we've been struggling in sports this fall. But a shining star in our sports has been girls golf. A sport not really known for high school. Every match is even an away game. But recently, they competed a 3-peat against Orange Vista. And this week defeated Vista del Lago by 13 strokes. To be honest, I don't know what that is, but I heard that's good. So, great job, Lady Panthers.
As always, thank you for your time and the opportunity to share with everyone what makes Paris High a great school. Thank you.
Thank you.
now from Pinacati Middle School, student representative Cynthia Carete and Alyssa Jones.
Good evening, President Garcia and board members.
Superintendent Bennett and Cabinet. I am Cynthia Carrete,
And I'm Alyssa Jones.
and we are Pinacati's Associated Student Body Representatives. Recently, our student body has been participating in many different activities to help students show school spirit while trying to promote a fun and safe environment for our fellow Pumas.
For instance, we recently had a Spirit Week where students participated in daily activities. This helps students show school spirit and take part in fun activities such as Puma Jama Day, Twin Tuesday, Dream Job Wednesday, and Sports Day.
Another very exciting event we had was our Fall Recognition Pep Rally. This was a rally where students with 4.0 GPAs were recognized and our school programs performed. Another leadership program web and had a very fun obstacle course where volunteers from our crowd got to participate.
To add on, our fall sports season has started and includes sports such as flag football, tackle football, girls volleyball, dance, cheer, and cross country.
To conclude today's presentation, I would like to invite you all to the Harvest Festival happening at on our campus on October 30th from 2:30 to 4. That concludes today's presentation. Thank you.
From Paris Lake High School, we have student representatives Gio Albino and Priscilla Santoyo.
Good evening, Governing Board, President Garcia, and all the cabinets of the member. My name is Leonel Albeno. I am a student representative for Perry Lake High School ASB. I would like to introduce my fellow ASB member and representative, Priscilla Santoyo.
I want to thank the governing board, members of the cabinet, and Superintendent Bennett for inviting us here to share the events at the lake. Here's a brief presentation summarizing the latest events.
On September 20th, Mount San Jacinto College gave Paris Lake students a tour around the campus and explored. We had the experience and opportunities to see what MSJC offers. This expedition provided guidance for our students to find their ideal education within their preferences. On the trip to MSJC, we coincidentally ran into two students that previously attended our school, which served as an example for our students to continue their education after high school. Porque sí se puede.
On October 3rd, we held the third annual Mental Health Awareness Fair. Excuse me. That informs students about the importance of care for mental health and how, as a community, we can bring awareness to the stigma associated with mental illness. We had community guest speakers from the Arena, Toy, Riverside Universal, Behavioral Health, Birth Choice, Sigma Beta Xi, and MSJC's Allied Help, and the support from cabinet member Dr. Niman. Overall, the event was very successful in benefiting not only the students, but the campus overall.
This month, the Student of the Month for October was my fellow representative Priscilla Santoyo. She was recognized for the demonstration of her exemplary character, motivation, and outstanding grades as our PUHSD Student of the Month. Her future goals include attending Moreno Valley College to earn her associate's degree and transferring to a university to acquire her bachelor's degree to become employed in the medical field. We would like to congratulate you again, Priscilla Santoyo, for hard work that you contribute and hopefully become an example of your amazing leadership skills.
One phenomenon that took place this month is that there were a couple of students that met all the requirements to graduate early. Congratulations to the 5 early graduates, class of 2020, Romero Freeman, Jeffrey Robinette, Kayla Mosley, Patrick Jewell, and Jesse Lara.
Now we will proceed to the upcoming events. On October 17th, we are going to have a Not Scary Farm field trip. This year, we have more students participating than any other year. On October 24th, the school will be offering a field trip to Cal State San Bernardino, which will provide the students with an interpretation of what the campus is like. Paris Lake High School Career and College Fair is Thursday, October 30th. We will have speakers representing construction, cosmetology, nursing, police and sheriff department, military, education, and other fields that will encourage our students to consider what they would like to do after high school. Next week, Monday through Friday, we are having a Halloween-based Spirit Week. One of the slides I did not see on here was we also had a student versus teacher basketball game. I had the honor of being one of the students who had to be on the teacher's team, and I am glad to say we won.
We hope that this presentation was informational and provided you with the recent events that have occurred at Paris Lake High School. Thank you for your time and cooperation.
Is there any questions or concern about the presentation? Thank you.
Thank you.
From the Scholar Plus Online Learning Academy, student representative Mia Romero.
Good evening, Board President Dr. Edward Garcia, Board members, Superintendent Bennett, and Cabinet. My name is Mia Romero. I'm a senior at Scholar Plus Online Learning Academy. I am honored to present to you this evening. Our school slogan is Developing Healthy Minds, Developing Healthy Futures. We had a great start of the year. We have a new schedule this year. All students start their first period with their supervising teacher before heading out to their classes. We continue to hold our You Matter morning check-in meetings which allow us to get to know each other and share how we feel and hear how our fellow students are doing. Students had the opportunity to tour the MSJC Menifee campus. It was exciting to see the different programs available for students. We held our third annual Youth Mental Health First Aid Awareness event on October 4th, 2019. We want to thank our local agency, Paris High School JROTC drill team and the Paloma Valley High School dance team for their performance in our opening ceremony. We also want to thank Assistant Superintendent of Education Services, Dr. Charles Newman, for sharing a little about his personal life with us at the opening ceremony and visiting classrooms where the workshop was being held. Students participated in the post survey, asking students to identify the workshop that impacted them the most, identify the resource they would like more information about, and identifying the workshop that they would refer a friend or family member to. We are very excited to begin the construction of the community garden. 6 students, 3 from SOLA and 3 from Paris Lake High School, were trained and designed the community garden in the spring of 2019. I am one of the 6 and I really enjoy the experience, and I'm excited to see how our design becomes a reality. We are naming our garden the Garden of Hope. Construction begins December 2019. We want to thank the City of Paris for their generous donation. Certificated Teacher of the Month for September was Mr. Alan Benson. Classified Employee of the Month for September was Mr. Robert Bryant. At this time, I would like to read a student and parent testimony regarding Scholar Plus. Thank you, Scholar Plus, for giving life back to my son. He is thriving under your leadership, smiling and wanting to go to school and succeeding. This program has given our family a new hope along with peace of mind, knowing you are all there for us. Our family is tremendously grateful to those who have allowed this wonderful program to exist, and especially for all the faculty and staff who are making this journey a wonderful, enlightening experience. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Sola Plus Online Academy parent. We focus on kindness every day at Scholar Plus. I like to end it with a quote. There are 3 ways to ultimate success. The first way is to be kind, the second way is to be kind, and the third way is to be kind by Fred Rogers. This is a solo way, and we want to thank again the board and cabinet for your ongoing support. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Item 9.4, PSEA President Jason Miller. Item 9.5, CSEA President Josh Rushing. Item 9.6, comments by the Board of Trustees. Dr. Arau?
Thank you, Mr. President. The only comment that I have to cabinet for providing the PD. We have good input from some of the teachers. And something that called my attention and triggered this thinking is well, one of them mentioned about equity, right? That was one of the elements of the PD. Remember the last month we attended we went to the equity conference, and at the last board meeting we were presented with a policy the board policy that we have in terms of equity. I would like to I know that we cannot talk about this because it's not an agenda item, but I would like to request if we can have this conversation during the next board meeting, Mr. President, in order to address the specific elements of how we, the board members, the district, and the system, we have a systematic approach in order to work with the policy. What are the specific strategies that we are using to ensure that policy is being applied? Because it has great elements. We read it. We know what is there. But how are we applying it? What are we doing in order to ensure that policy is benefiting our students? I think that is something really important. And just is a proposal, my petition, to include that as an item to discuss and talk about it during the next board meeting. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I would like to echo the parental testimonial for the Scholar Online Plus. As a parent of a student who attended there and graduated from there last June, I'm very, very pleased with the results. She's now attending MSJC and also doing that online. She found out she likes it that way, and it works for her. And then I have a question. This hasn't been mentioned at all, but as I remember, tomorrow's October 17th. Isn't that Great American Shakeout Day? And do we participate in that? And nobody said anything. I'm just curious. Thank you.
I'd like to take a minute to thank Heritage High School for the beautiful shirt, and also Paloma for the shirt. I'm neutral. My son went to Paloma, and of course I worked at Heritage for many years. So I'll be on both sidelines and will attend the game. Thank you so much for the shirts. Josh, I just wanted to respond to you. Had a question about the sub pay. Kirk, if you could just give a really brief. Oh, is it? Did we not vote on that already? Okay, I guess you can't then. It'll be explained if you're going to be here. Okay. Thank you to all the sites for the presentations, and we'll see you at the game. Okay, thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of our student speakers that spoke to all of us. Thank you to each and every one of you. I've been seeing a lot of the social media posts, and another thing I want to address is let's make sure we keep the peace at the game, okay? I don't know what shirt I want to wear, but we plan on attending. It was Paris Lake, I believe. Where'd you guys go? There you are. I want to commend you. You guys came up here dressed for success, and I noticed that right away. I see the change in you guys, and I'm very proud of you guys, but I'm proud of every student of ours. And I want everyone to take notes. We observe you, we see you grow, and we want you to be successful. That right there is what you all need to compete with. I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's a standard. I'm just saying they want to be something in life, and they will be. So kudos to you guys for sure. And thank you for the shirts to everybody. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but we're going to figure it out. But thank you to everybody, and good luck during the games. All right. Item 10.1. Oh, actually, students, you're more than welcome to stay, but you're more than welcome to leave as well. Right? Item 10.1, invitation to address the Board of Trustees on non-agendized items. None? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Is that better? Would you like me to use my big boy voice? No, no one's speaking. Item 11.1 is the consent calendar. Is there a motion?
Second.
I didn't hear the second. Dr. Freeman? Any discussion? Okay. Are we good? We're all good? Okay, is any more discussion? Yes, sir.
Yes, we're all good.
We're all good, sir. Any more discussion? We might need it. We might need an escort deputy. Okay, any more discussion so we can vote? Oh, please vote, gentlemen. Item 11.1 is a 5-0 vote. Item 12.1 is the information item, curriculum and discipline update.
Yes, President Garcia and the board, we have our annual discipline update. Robert Bruff, our Director of Pupil Service, will come up and provide that update.
You have a hard copy of those. Sorry, let me do this. Of course, we have our annual measurable outcomes. We always want to reduce all incidents of violence or bullying or truancy, suspension, expulsion. Our goal is 5%. We want to reduce disproportionality in particular. You guys have talked about equity. Certainly, equity should always be our vision and our goal, and disproportionality speaks to that. Improving attendance indicators and maintaining our facilities are all about school safety. The topics we're going to cover tonight are strategies, the suspension rates and expulsion rates, maybe some demographic breakdowns so you can look at those disparity issues, some observations about the data, and then some next steps, things we're focused on this year for you. I won't read all of this. We kind of preface it every year with they're unduplicated, students that count only one time, and duplicated students. So different slides will represent either duplicated or unduplicated, and we'll try to point those out as we go along. So we'll slow down a little here and give you some good news. When we look at the year, last year, as a district, you have a 3-year running data point here. In 16-17, we were at 8.2%. 17-18, we dropped to 7.8, 0.4%. And last year, with the implementation of alternative suspension and MTSS, we dropped to 6%. So it was a 1.8% reduction in suspensions. Talking about some very significant numbers. And that represents a lot of hard work by every person in this district. Really building connections with students. So I'm slowing down just a little on this slide to let you take in that good news. When we look at the year as a whole, these are good numbers. Kind of like my Dodgers, we had the best season of the year last year. We're not in this World Series, but we had the best season. Those are good numbers. More games were won than ever before. Suspensions are way down. When we look at district-wide, we were at 6%. You will see a student total there of 11,230. I know Ms. Rain's probably like, that's not what we got 88 for, and I know that's the number that came through the doors and left the doors. So when we look at suspensions, we look at the total number of customers 17-18, 34. And last year, that number was cut almost in half by 50%, 16 expulsions district-wide. Yes, sir.
Never mind, you just said never.
I'm sorry, so it went from 34 to 16 last year. So that's kind of the numbers for the year. Below that is some 9-week numbers, and I'm going to sort of transition here because we've looked at the year as a whole, 18-19, but we are about 10, 11 weeks into school, so we wanted to give you kind of a 9-week update for where we're at. Again, this is 18-19. We reduced overall. The African American rate still on that rubric is very high, but we have the 1.4 reduction, and SPED and EL were also very high, but we decreased significantly in each of those areas. So we're moving in absolutely the right direction for those data points. Then we move to the first 9 weeks of this year, and I would caution you that the good news portion of the presentation is over a little bit. That so I want to buckle up for this next part. It's been an interesting start, and I use a little levity there, but there's nothing funny about this. That there's tension, not just in our schools, but when I talk to directors across the way, I know many of you still work in schools, run schools, and I don't know. We'll talk a little bit tonight about some of the factors affecting our families and our kids, but I think you spoke about it in terms of fears of deportation. I met with 3 families recently who had a parent deported, and they're trying to figure out what to do. I don't know. We can come back to this, but we're certainly seeing anger and aggression across the board in our schools. And our schools are a representation of the society we live in. It's a little bit disturbing. When we look at the numbers for this year, the first 9 weeks, things are up quite a bit. I think I'm going to skip to this slide, which is very, very busy, and I don't expect you to read all that. You can look at that later at your leisure. We've circled one thing, and you see suspensions in 2018 on the left, and there were 125 the first 9 weeks of school. And we're at 186 for the first 9 weeks of school this year. Most of the things in gold or that green are interventions that are being done, and you'll see there are more interventions that were done last year across every category. But this is very busy, and we didn't want to stay on this, so that's something you can revisit later. It lists every infraction possible on the left and gives you numbers for every school. The first 9 weeks of last year, and the first 9 weeks of this year. But we wanted to really highlight the safety concerns on that list that you're seeing, that very busy one you can go back to. And so we wanted a very simple and clean and honest portrayal of what this first 9 weeks has looked like. When we look at 48900A1, those are, causing, threatening to cause, attempting to cause physical injury to another person. In the first 9 weeks of school last year, we had 87 incidents. This year, 122. Now, that does not mean there were 122 fights on campus. That means there were 122 injuries. So many of those are threats, where students may have been suspended a day or 2 and interventions were done. Many of them are actual mutual combats. I can speak to some of the reasons I think these are up. One our administrators are doing a phenomenal job this year. One of the focus points of this year was to get out and do far better supervision, and they're building really good connections with kids. And the tips that are coming in, once you build those connections, I know you do this on a daily basis. You get to know kids, you talk, you know their story, you know them personally. Well, then they start to share with you, like, they were in a fight first period, or Joe has something in his backpack, and once you start getting those tips, you start doing the investigations, and you start finding things. I think there's 2 ways to look at some of this data. We could say, oh, the numbers are up, so schools are maybe more dangerous.
Thank you. First, I have a question on those incidents where they've tripled in some cases. Are any of those repeats? You know, with the same student?
Yes, they are. And this time last year, we had 14 expulsions in the first 9 weeks. I have met 36 families have been referred for expulsion. Now, not all those result in formal expulsions, but yeah, some of those are second offenses.
The second question has to do with what you just said about a belonging problem. Is there any report from local law enforcement that there's any dramatic increase in gang involvement?
We've talked to our SROs and
I would like to see, and I'm sure you're already going to do this. I would like to see data in in terms of the new law about modifying the hours of school, how how it's going to affect discipline. So I know you haven't done it yet, but if you could keep tabs on that, that would be appreciated.
that law, I think it's to be phased in over 3 years.
Right.
So, you know, I think much of the brain research we're hearing is that the teenage brain needs to sleep, and perhaps if they get that extra hour, maybe they'll come to school a little calmer and better rested.
And hopefully some parents put their kids to bed early too.
So that'll be an interesting chart.
Yeah.
That, you know, we'll have to look at, does that have an impact
Right.
on behavior and safety? So we'll certainly keep you appraised of that.
I appreciate that. Anything else? Thank you, sir.
I wanna thank you all for looking at that.
Item 12.2 is information item, business budget allocations.
Okay, well, this item says business, but it's a joint effort with business and educational services. We can just pick one. So, 2 board meetings ago, Dr. Arau had asked for some information on how budget. That he's talked about how you guys get the whole big picture budget presentation, but was interested to know how budgets were distributed at the school site level. And so we have Alicia Fogarty and Diane Martin who will present that to you.
Good evening, President Garcia, members of the board, Superintendent Bennett, and cabinet. I turned it on. I just talk low. So tonight we're going to talk about budget allocations and how we distribute those monies to the school sites. So for the school site level discretionary allocations, we use what's called a decentralized budget. So basically that's formula driven. So we take their projected enrollment initially and do a per student. This includes all students, including special ed. We do break it out by instructional, school, admin, equipment, sub and extra duty, and total discretionary. And then athletics is separate allocation. So originally this allocation was first established in 2007-08, and so we've been going with that model. Athletics was rebenched originally in 15-16, and then we changed the athletic methodology altogether in 18-19 to make it more equitable, and we followed the LCFF methodologies for distributing. So that way we could also bring in the unduplicated count. Some schools have more parent participation than others because of their natural demographics. So we felt that it was more equitable to go off the LCFF method when allocating for athletics. So school sites, once they get the money, they will budget in these initial areas, but the budgeting at each school site varies by cultures, by expectations, priorities, goals of the board and the district to get in all of those goals, actions, and services. as well as buy-in from the teachers. So some school sites, they allocate by department, and or they also give like a small pot of money, say $100 or $200 per teacher to buy whatever instructional materials that they need for their classroom. If they need other things, such as maybe cleaner for their boards or Kleenexes or whatnot, all they have to do is ask, and that is also provided. As you can see for our middle schools and for our alternative school, it's just under, or just over actually, because I'm like a rounding person, got to be exact, almost $79 per student. For our high schools, almost $85 per student, and for the independent study program, almost $145 per student. And then again, athletics is a completely different formula that brings in their unduplicated student population. And then after we get the certified C-beds, we do an adjustment. So if we over budgeted, let's say Pentecostal ended up with 100 less students, then we would reduce their budget. But if they grew by 100 students, then we would increase their budget. Oops.
Wow.
That's it. We're done. Over. So these are the different areas where we initially give the school sites budgets, but because we are decentralized, that puts the decision-making into the school site, and I already kind of explained how they do that collectively with their staff. But we do allocate by instructional, so these are things that would go directly into the classroom, or the classroom would have a direct effect, say like if a teacher went to training. School admin, everything that's needed to run the school. Equipment replacement that is unrelated to growth. If it is growth, then that is something that the district provides, and we'll go over a brief list a little bit later. And then subs and extra duty when it's related to conferences or training or things of that nature, things that the principal or the school itself feels like those activities are important. Again, we'll cover it more in detail, but the district covers for like vacation unless it's less than 12-month employees, and all sick leave. So none of that hits the site budgets. And then athletics, of course. So this is the list that I was talking about. This is not an exhaustive list, but these are the major things that are spent year over year. And so it kind of outlines, and I won't go into reading them all. Sure you guys can do that, but the school sites are basic things that they pay for, and then the things that the district pays for. And now I will turn it over to Ms. Diane to talk about categoricals.
So in addition to the support for the services, the sites are also receiving Title I funds. So I'm going to go over just some of the centralized services that we provide through our federal dollars. So again, I'm not going to read through the list, but our district receives about $2.8 million, which has been decreasing from the census, and all of that data that comes in with our community has decreased over the last 4 or 5 years. So decisions on how we spend these restricted dollars become very crucial and is data-based. So this is just a short list of some of the centralized services that we provide the schools across the board before we give them a site allocation. So with Title I, it's a little bit more restricted, so we have some more guidelines to follow with regards to who is eligible and how we determine site allocations. So this is our allocation for 1920. With our Title I schools, there is a requirement for parental involvement. So part of those funds that they receive has to be earmarked for parent outreach and engagement. These dollars are determined, and how they're spent are determined at the site level through their school site council. I oversee that process, so we meet in the spring, determine their projected allocations. We discuss their SIPSA goals and alignment to our LCAP goals, and we then go through the process of looking at data, and then as a body, each school site council determines how they're going to utilize their funds at each of the schools. So, yes?
For restricted funding, I don't see Paloma Valley on there.
Paloma does not receive Title I funds. They're not a Title I school. We support them through the supplemental concentration funds, which is on the last slide. So in addition to the Title I, our district also receives Title II, Title III, and Title IV Those are these are all centralized services. These are not site allocations. Through the process of our budget meetings throughout the year and our LCAP and our PAC and our input from our school site council and our parent advisory committees, we determine the best use of those funds to support the districts in the different areas. And again, I won't read through the list. They're pretty self-explanatory. Again, these are used across the district, including Paloma. Oh, Lord, I just don't want to go that way. Sorry. You just wanted to get through, and I'm just trying to get to the next slide. So our last one is our LCFF supplemental concentration. So again, you guys are very familiar with our LCAP and our four LCAP goals. This is the part that we also embed some of the services for Paloma Valley High School. Again, this is a short list of some of the major areas that we support the district in all of those efforts across the, oh my God, lost my little train of thought there. So these all are funded items through the LCAP that support all of the services across the district in our 4 LCAP goals. And that includes an allocation for Paloma Valley High School.
Thank you.
Oh my God. I think that's it. Go the right way. Any questions? Oh, wait, there's more. Hold on. I just wanted to mention, because I'm up here oftentimes sharing some of our other grant monies. So in addition to the supplemental concentration and our restricted funds, our district also receives funds in Perkins, as well as our Career Tech Ed ACES assets. So we have other funding streams that help support their LCAP goals and the SIPSA goals across the district. Those are one-time monies, and those are restricted and limited, but they also should be included in as part of the bigger conversation and discussion. Sorry, now that's it.
Yeah, I was just noticing here under LCAP Goal 1 that Turnitin is included in there. I appreciate you doing that, because if they wait until college to find out that they're being plagiarists,
yeah.
that it'll be too late. So I really appreciate the fact that you're starting to train them properly. Thank you.
We have a lot of English teachers that appreciate that as well.
Just one question, Diane. I was wondering on the discretionary allocation. Paris High School with 2,200 and Paloma Valley with 3,200. Paloma Valley has 1,000 more students. However, for athletics, it has $30,000 less co-curricular. What would be the reason for that discrepancy?
And so because we changed the methodology to take into consideration the unduplicated count, so Paris High School has a much higher unduplicated count than Paloma. So they have less parent participation, like with gate fees.
They have less what? I'm sorry?
Participation. So less parents go to the football games and to the different events than, let's say, Paloma. So they're unable to raise fees the same way that the other school does. So that's why we changed to this methodology in order to bring in that unduplicated count, because just like the district, it's an important factor in allocation.
Yes, that makes sense.
Exactly.
And we start, just to add, if you don't mind, just to add to that. So we don't have all this detail up there. We'd be looking at spreadsheet after spreadsheet and putting you all to sleep. But we start with a base amount that all times the enrollment at each of the schools. So the enrollment may be different. And then just like the LCFF calculation, based on their unduplicated people count, as Alicia was mentioning, we apply a concentration factor and a supplemental factor. What we were doing prior is Paris High School, to be quite honest, was going into the negative every year in their gate account. And so then we would have to pay, $30,000 out of the general fund. Meanwhile, that's, we knew that would happen, but we just thought this is a much more fair and equitable way to allocate. So.
Thank you for explaining that, because exactly equity, that's what triggered my question, right? Because I saw the discrepancy with Paloma Valley, say, wait, Paris more than Paloma. But that explains that. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 13.1, General Functions, Williams Settlement Quarterly Uniform Complaint Report, Summary for July through September 2019. Item 13.2, discipline, September 2019 monthly suspension report. Item 14.1 is an action item, personnel, certificated personnel action items. Is there a motion?
Second.
Mr. Stafford, Dr. Free, or excuse me, Dr. Rao. Any discussion? Please vote. Item 14.1 is a 5-0 vote. Item 14.2 is another action item, personnel, classified personnel action items. Is there a motion? Mr. Nielsen and Mr. Stafford. Any discussion? No? Please vote. Item 14.2 is a 5-0 vote. Item 14.3 is an action item, personnel updated implementation phase 3 of the implementation plan to increase classified substitute pay. Is there a motion?
Second.
Mr. Nielsen and Dr. Rao. Any discussion?
Yes, just a quick explanation, Kirk, of the timing of this. It's been approved a long time ago. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. So I'd like to begin actually by apologizing. I think last time we talked about this at the last meeting, I wasn't clear, and so I appreciate the fact that I can go over it in a little bit more clarity today. I want to let you know that this item came up because we were actually in HR, we were looking at the substitute salaries for our licensed vocational nurses in September. And I asked a question, well, what are we currently paying our LVNs? And out of that learned that, oh my gosh, the board had approved a salary step increase back in 2016 that hadn't taken place. And so when I analyzed it, I brought a recommendation to the board last month, and then after the board's discussion last month and the item was tabled, I'm bringing a new recommendation for you. And so let me walk you through what took place. So back in November 16, 2016, the board approved a 3-phase increase to the classified substitute salary schedule, which is salary schedule number 12B. And the purpose behind that increase was to attract and recruit and retain quality classified subs, to ensure that the district pays each employee wages that aren't less than the California's minimum wage laws when they go up. And then the third one is ensure that all substitute employees are at step 1 of the respective permanent classified salary schedules. So those are the 3 things, making sure that we get everybody to step 1 of what the classified salary schedule was. And so in December 8th, and then as part of that, it also, what the board approved was to ensure that if there were any salary increases that went with the classified bargaining unit, that they also were applied to the classified substitute salary schedule, the salary schedule 12B. So on December 8th of 2016, the first phase of the action was implemented, and that meant that paraeducators were placed on step 1 of this classified salary schedule, the equivalent of step 1 of the classified salary schedule. Nutrition services assistants were placed at the equivalent of step 1 of the salary schedule. Licensed vocational nurses were placed on the equivalent of the step 1 of the classified salary schedule. And then clerical subs were 10% less than step 1. And campus supervisor subs were 20% less than step 1. And custodians were 20% less than step 1 at that time, with the understanding that phase 2 would be moving up the clerical and moving up the campus supervisors. So eventually all of them were at the equivalent of step 1 of the classified salary schedule. But as I mentioned, in 2016, the action was to also increase it based on the increases to the classified salary schedule if they went up as well. So we have 2 separate salary schedules that are working simultaneously, so to speak. And so in May of 2017, the board approved the tentative agreement between the Paris Union High School District and CSEA that included a 1% salary increase that was retroactive to 2016, and then a 2% ongoing salary increase to the classified salary schedule. And that was all approved, and all of our classified employees got that. But based on this agreement back in 2016, the substitute salary schedule should have gone up at that time, and it never did. And so that was one thing that the board approved that wasn't followed through on. Fast forward to July 1, 2017, the second phase of that agreement came in place. So clerical substitutes were placed at the equivalent of step 1 of the classified salary schedule. Campus supervisors were increased to be 10% less than what step 1 would be on the classified salary schedule, and custodians were placed 10% less than what step 1 would be on the classified salary schedule. Then in July 1, 2018, they were the last two groups, custodians and campus supervisor substitutes, were supposed to be moved up to the equivalent of step 1 of the classified salary schedule, but that never happened. It didn't take place, just like the salary increase prior to that didn't take place. Then, in December of 2018, there was another tentative agreement between the district and CSEA that increased the classified salary schedule, which should have also increased the classified substitute salary schedule, and those increases also didn't take place. So when this came to our attention, and I looked at it, that's why we brought this to the board's attention, saying, hey, listen, this didn't take place. The original intent behind this was, as I mentioned at the beginning, but based on our discussion last month with the board, there was an interest in terms of making sure that we follow through with our promises to our classified substitute employees. And so that's, I think, when there was a question earlier or a comment earlier, this isn't a new action by the board in terms of, hey, we're increasing substitute salary schedules. This is a correction to an action that took place back in 2016 by the board, or trying to make our substitutes whole based on what the board originally did and following through with that. So happy to answer any other questions that you have related to that.
No, that was fine. Josh, were you able to get the timing and the sequence of that so we know? Okay, appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Skorpanic. Appreciate you explaining.
I do have a question. So I want to, because what Josh said about the salaries now, is that accurate?
With
the substitute salaries?
What this action would do is go back to what the board originally approved back in 2016, and that is to place our classified stubs at the equivalent of step 1 of what the classified salary schedule would be. So our classified substitute salary schedule, the ranges would be the equivalent to step 1 on what the permanent classified salary schedule is.
Thank you.
Okay.
I do have one question though. So, excuse me, the substitutes would be getting the same pay, but would not have to pay CSEA dues. They wouldn't have the same hours that permanent employees would, but they would have the same pay but not have to pay the dues that CSEA employees do have to pay. Correct?
Correct. They wouldn't. They have the right to join CSEA, but they also wouldn't be getting benefits.
The benefits of it. Okay. I wanted to make sure that that was pointed out as well.
I'm a little bit confused because I think I heard that you said that the gap was 10%, right?
Well,
you mentioned at some point between that it was 10% less.
I think last time we talked about that a little bit, and it depends on the position. It's a little bit different depending on the position.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. So what the original action that was in 2016 was to move, as I mentioned, the first phase was to move campus supervisors and custodians, let's talk about them because those are the ones that haven't been made whole yet, to move them 20% less than what step 1 was. Phase 2 was to move them 10% less than step 1 was. And then phase 3, which hasn't been implemented, was to make them equivalent to what that last step was. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Well, now, but I misunderstood what it was happening before. And even the presentation, I apologize if I misunderstood because I don't remember and I forget things, that it was presented to us as we didn't implement it. I don't remember hearing that. That came up later on when we asked questions. It was presented, no, because if we give this, it's going to get to this much, and it's too much money. Am I correct? I remember it right, or I just want to make things really clear.
You know what? you and I had a private
Yes.
conversation separately, and I think that, and my intent was never to try and say it was anything other than an analysis of what took place and where we were at that point in time and stuff. So if it came across as, oh, we looked at it, we don't need to do it anymore, and it has nothing to do with whether we implement it, that wasn't the intent behind it. The intent was we didn't, as I mentioned, we didn't implement it. I recognize that we didn't implement it, and then in analyzing it and looking what the intent was behind that, I shared the recommendation with you as the board. But by no means was that an intent to, you know.
No, and I'm not implying, or I'm not saying, because I cannot imply, I can say, right, that was the intention.
Right.
What I'm saying is because a few seconds ago, if I remember correctly, you said and it was presented to you is that we didn't do it. And it was not, I just want to clarify that that was not the case. And right now, a few minutes ago, like 1 minute ago, you said
What was presented?
how it was presented. It was not presented as how you said. It was presented as we want to get your approval. And help me remember, I might be wrong, you know?
Jose, I think that I sat down with Mr. Skorpanich, and he actually is the hero in this because he recognized it and brought it to the board to be corrected. No matter which way we went with it, that we could correct it because it had fallen by the wayside, and there was change in personnel, change in board. This was done by a previous board. So that was good. I really appreciated that when I sat down with him. And yes, over time, you know, we're not going to have to deal with this again for quite some time. We didn't analyze how many hours were actually being paid out, so we didn't know that. But I don't think it's a huge amount. So it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. No,
Anticipated to be
34,000.
Okay.
Yes. And we were talking last time about 49,000.
Yes. And also remember the subs don't work in the summer. The positions are taken up by the classified that want to work in those positions, and they're usually taken, and they get 2 months without pay or whatever. The time is.
And I agree, and I want to say thank you to Mr. Spanish. My point is just was to make it very clear if I misunderstood before or right now the way that you were presented. Not a problem. And I understand that that was not the intention and all of that. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Any more discussion, gentlemen? All right, please vote. Dr. Rao, did you vote? Oh, there we go. Item 14.3 is a 4-1 vote, 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Item 14.4 is another action item, curriculum ratification of master agreement with Sea Change Therapy for physical therapy services and assessments funded through the special education at an estimated cost not to exceed $20,000, not the general fund. Is there a motion?
So move.
Dr. Rao, Mr. Nelson. Any discussion? No? Please vote. Oh, wait, was that discussion? No. Okay. Please vote. Item 14.4 is a 5-0 vote. Item 14.5 is another action item, curriculum ratification of amendment to the agreement for consulting services with Corwin Press Incorporated for professional development funded through the Low Performing Students Block Grant in the amount of $5,000, not the general fund. Is there a motion?
So move.
Dr. Rao, Dr. Freeman. Any discussion? No? Please vote. Item 14.5 is a 5-0 vote. Item 14.6 is an action item, curriculum, agreement for professional development services with an Innovated funded through the Comprehensive Support and Improvement Grant in the amount of $102,000, not the general fund. Is there a motion?
Second.
Mr. Stafford, Dr. Rao. Any discussion? Please vote. Takes a little time sometimes. Item 14.6 is a 5-0 vote. Item 14.7 is an action item, curriculum, memorandum of understanding with the County of Riverside Department of Public Social Services for the Every Student Succeeds Act Transportation Plan to ensure school stability for students in foster care funded through Title I and charter school funds only if services are utilized, not the general fund. Is there a motion?
So move.
Dr. Rao, Mr. Stafford, any discussion? Please vote. Item 14.7 is a 5-0 vote. Item 14.8 is an action item, building and grounds. Authorize the use of a piggyback contract for modular buildings at Student Services Center and other district sites as needed, funded through the various facility funds at an estimated cost of $400,000, not the general fund. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Nelson and Dr. Freeman. Any discussion?
Yeah, just to be clear, this is for student services, right?
Yes.
This is-
The two
oh,
portables in the front. Why are you all giggling over there?
okay. Yes, you deserve one. Okay. All right. Okay.
Any more discussion? No? Please vote. Item 14.8 is a 5-0 vote. Item 14.9 is an action item, business, U.S. Communities Master Agreement with Home Depot for maintenance, repair, operation supplies, and industrial supplies and related products and services funded through the maintenance fund and at an estimated annual cost of $100,000, not the general fund. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Nelson, Dr. Freeman? Any discussion?
Just a quick question. Is it because of the dollar amount that it's on here? Okay.
Yeah, it's the dollar amount requires us to bring it for board approval.
Normally, we wouldn't see this.
Normally we
Home Depot.
wouldn't, but I'm pleased to say we have a new director of purchasing who's on top of these things, Dawn Bray, if you've not met her. So thank you, Dawn, for bringing this to our attention.
Okay, thank you.
This is just like a purchase order.
Do you want to explain?
We have a-
The question, I don't know if you heard of it, it's like putting you on the spot.
This is actually similar to a piggyback bid, if you will. We're using what U.S. Communities Master Agreement, which is kind of like a statewide contract, if you will. And this is who we typically already are getting our maintenance supplies through, but because of the volume and the dollar amount that we're doing business with Home Depot, we wanted to make sure we were covered for these types of list pricing under this U.S. Communities Agreement. It may actually save us money from what we currently were already utilizing with Home Depot. And the other neat reason that this came about is because Home Depot actually bought up some of the other existing companies that maintenance was utilizing as well. So they've kind of brought a whole bunch of little companies under the fold. So this kind of just covers us in this big umbrella agreement.
So it's the same as the piggyback for the previous, same type of item. We did this for Office Depot, I think it was in June before you were here. We do this for bread and dairy and all kinds of things, so we can get the best pricing.
Right, makes sense. Any more discussion? Please vote. Item 14.9 is a 5-0 vote. Item 1410 is an action item, business approval of J-13A, request for allowance of attendance due to emergency conditions.
So
Is there a
moved.
motion? Dr. Raha?
Second.
Mr. Nielsen? Any discussion? No? Please vote. Item 14.10 is a 5-0 vote. Item 1411 is an action item, business resolution number 919-20, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Paris Union High School District implementing a supplementary employee retirement plan and approval of the supplemental employee retirement plan service agreement with Keenan and Associates. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Nelson, Dr. Rao. Any discussion? Please vote. Item 1411 is a 5-0 vote. Item 15.1 is the information item on curriculum, state priorities, and local indicators. Item 15.2 is the information item, business revolving cash report, September 2019. Item 15.3, board policies, community relations, series 1000. Item 15.4, information item, board policies, business and non-instructional operations, series 3000. Item 16.1, closed session if necessary.
We do need to go back into closed session.
Oh, okay. So we'll be going to closed session at 7:37. It didn't say it? I didn't see it. Want me to go back? Yeah, that's what I thought. No. You know what? It's not, it is an action item, but it's not giving me the option. Right here.
Gives you the option to call for the vote.
Nope. I went back, yeah. No, you're right. So do we have to do by hand or verbal? It didn't give me the option for,
Well, we did vote to go into closed session earlier. I don't know if that vote covers.
so is there a motion to go to closed session?
Second.
So,
And
Mr.
our vote-
Nelson
you're saying our
makes a
vote
motion?
Counts for us to be able to go back and.
Okay, all right, there it is.
You good? I don't care, but you can. Hey, I'll look at that in the morning.
He just brought it up today. I just saw him this morning, he didn't bring it up. That's good he found. Yeah, so we sent the thing now, the date for the other one. Probably, it would have to be at the
Call me,
school.
call me in the morning then.
Yeah. I mean, unless we identify the kids at the school. Like within the next like 2 weeks. Yeah. Have a good night, man.
You're not too changed. You got Rob and no change.
I got no change.
Dr. Rouse for that one signature.
Yes, sir. Where am I signing?
You got the red ones, so.
Oh, but I make no red. Oh, okay.
Yes. President, vice president, clerk, and then the board members. And then you have quite a few other ones as you, as the clerk. That's why we elected you.
Yeah, I thought it was because, I think, I always, in here, I thought it was so that I could put my name on my daughter's diplomas.
Yeah. Hey, I've gotta stay on the board long enough to get my name on the plaque at Liberty, so
you know
where my daughter's gonna graduate, you know?
I will just keep on nominating you for clerk until that happens.
Oh, okay, I appreciate that, thanks. My hand's gonna cramp up everyone from all the signing.
Well, if you sign, quit signing, if you go out on it, and
Not a co-signing? There's one that you have to sign.
Okay, I'll sign it.
I want to make people.
We reconvene at 8:08. Item 18.1 is an action item, discipline board review of discipline matters. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Nelson and Dr. Arau, was that?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? Oh, you got kicked out. All right.
Now I gotta sign 2 times on one piece of paper. I'm gonna change my name to Ed Hughes.
Keep signing.
I'm signing, quit signing, and I'm going off on a tangent.
Are we voting on something? 'Cause I don't have.
Yeah, we're waiting for
Yeah.
Mr. Stafford.
I'm sorry, I closed my phone. Stuff out.
We're all on the same page, right?
Correct.
18.1.
Yes, 1801.
18.1.
18.1.
Any discussion on 18.1?
You were just looking for.
Please vote.
Oh, jeez.
Item 18.1 is a 5-0 vote. Item 19.1, other items by the superintendent.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Item 20.1, other items by the Board of Trustees.
Nothing for me.
That's what I think.
Mr. Freeman?
I just thought we'd go on and on until I finish signing everything.
Okay, we'll do that. Mr. Stafford, you?
What is it now?
Other items by the Board of, yes.
What's happening here?
No,
That's my bed.
I think I've said enough.
Okay. Item 21.1, adjournment. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Nelson, Dr. Rao,
I wanna make,
He wasn't
I wanna
putting-
discuss
Tony
it.
wasn't putting the.
please vote.
Hey, I thought we get to
Make more
discuss
time.
it.
Yeah, but now we're voting.
I wanted to discuss it.
I think that's the last red one. Yep.
Item 21.1 is a 5-0 vote. We are adjourned at 8:10 PM.
Okay.